Hello, my friends at SERCO of Texas. This is Daryl Andrews, Coach D, the Workforce Development Motivator. Many of you probably know who I am from the Texas Workforce Commission's Conference, NAUTIP conferences, and many other events throughout the United States of America. But what many of you may not know is I got my start in Texas through your organization. Probably about 18 years ago, I was a keynote speaker for the National Association of Workforce Development Professionals Youth Symposium, and a lady by the name of Nancy Bonilla was there. And at that time, you were managing the project over in Workforce Solutions South Plains. So she had me come out to speak to a youth consortium. And obviously, we must have resonated because 18 years later, we're still working with that organization. So I just want to personally say thank you for the opportunity to get into Texas. And since that time, we've worked with so many of the organizations throughout the state. And we also have worked with you at other locations outside of South Plains. But it's been a few years, and so this is sort of a reintroduction. But I'm excited about the opportunity to work with you again, but this time in a different capacity, because we have what's called the Workforce Development Success Frameworks. And we realize that post-pandemic, the world has changed in our industry. And then most recently, there's a lot of changes to workforce development as a whole. So to be able to get teams to operate efficiently, we have to have systems in place that help them to see things that maybe they're not seeing right now. So as we are submitting this proposal, there were three core areas that Andrea and I discussed, and I appreciate her efforts and your team's efforts and conversations that we have that can definitely be a benefit to you in enhancing your workforce development outcomes. And so we talked about staff training with an emphasis really on recruiting with intentionality and client connections. All over the country, we're hearing the need to find ways to engage clients. And when we ran our programs many years ago, I was a contractor. One of our strengths was the ability to recruit clients because we went out into the field and recruited them. We, in other words, went out and volunteered. We engaged ourselves. We weren't just there asking. We were there giving. And as a result, our community opened up to us. Our youth program, HYPE, we did adult and youth programs, had a waiting list of 250 kids because the kids themselves started to recruit because of our connections with them. So that's one area that we're looking at, as well as just ways to better engage with a post-pandemic client base, to communicate with them, to talk to them, to listen to them. We will give your team strategies on how to do that effectively because times have changed and people have changed. Some folks are comfortable with that and some aren't. So hopefully our training can provide some comfort and some understanding how powerful their voice is when interacting with their clients. And then, of course, leadership development. We have a thing called post-pandemic leadership because our workplace has changed. Our teams have changed. And so we have to understand that leadership today is the ability to listen, understand, and engage. And so we have a book out that's titled Post-Pandemic Leadership, where we focused on that. And we've done coaching and training with workforce groups, but even corporations and other nonprofits to help upskill leaders to really be good listeners and improving in areas like emotional intelligence to improve their ability to work with their staff member. Now, this is not a perfect science, and we're trying to say, hey, it takes time. And it doesn't mean that the leader is not placating every employee, but it's understanding how do you better engage employees to get the best out of them. And then the last area was one of the areas we were just probably one of the best in the country at when we were running our programs, is we have a model by the name of HYPE, Helping Youth Pursue Excellence. And HYPE was recognized, it was under WIA, so I know we have WILA and all that now, but the concept's still the same. We actually had a high number of out-of-school youth by choice, but our claim to fame was a 90% graduation rate. Kids who were out of school, we got back in school, ended up getting their GEDs. Again, understanding client connections. So what I'm proposing is really just to be an extension of you. I'm not saying come in and we're the sage on the stage. What we do with a lot of our customers, most people think we're just motivational speakers at a conference. No, that's not who we are. We do that. That's to inspire the industry. But what we really do is consult, train, and coach and work with people. So what we're proposing to you is to be an extension, where we can come in from time to time and work with the team, provide some insights on how to engage the clients, strategies on a better recruit, leadership tips on how to, and then beyond just the training, you'll notice in the proposal, we have a once a month coaching because integration is key. And so if we're training without coaching, we're not going to be able to integrate because people forget training really quick. But when there's homework assignments and team assignments, then now it starts to get integrated into the culture. So it's a big task. Hopefully this is like a phase one for us. You may want to choose a 6 month or a full year. Some customers we've been working with for 3 and 4 years because we're now a part of their team. But we'd love to chat with you about it. We do conduct individual programs, but we highly suggest ongoing solutions because to me, if you're going to make a commitment financially, it makes more sense to commit to something where you're working on something versus kind of giving people a shot in the arm, which is okay. But, no doubt the more enhanced hands-on model work. So I don't want to go too much longer. This has been long enough. I would love to work with you in some capacity. Don't know what your budgets are. Most of my customers give me a budget. They say, hey, coach, we have XYZ dollars available. Can you and your team work with us? All right. And so they'll tell us what it is and we can customize it. If what we have proposed it doesn't fit, then we can tell me what, we can customize it. I just would love to work with you again, because again, you were the ones that got us into Texas. And from you, the Texas Workforce Commission, relationships with some of the commissioners, all started because of that interaction with your organization many years ago. So we'd love to work with you again. Love, a lot of you know who we are. We're going to bring some inspiration. But what you're going to see that's different than NAUDIP is we're strategic. And I'll leave you with this. We believe that motivation without information is simply a good conversation. We don't want your teams just to be motivated. We want your teams to have strategies. And that's what we're going to help with. So look forward to hearing from you. Hopefully we can get started working with you. We would love to. It's almost like going full circle and connecting with the organization that helped us start to get the ball rolling in Texas. Love to be able to help. Take care now.